Is WWE reviving the WCW brand? A fired talent shoots on AEW. My review of Dynamite and more. I'm Ollie Davis, and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. On Tuesday, Vice premiered their brand new Rock the Dwayne Johnson-produced docu-series Who Killed WCW, a show obviously inspired by our Who Really Killed WCW documentary we released in March. Watch that using the link down below. The demise of WCW has been a tale that keeps interesting audiences, mostly because Eric Bischoff keeps inventing new parts of it, but also because nostalgia is a powerful drug, something WWE is very well aware of, according to a new trademark filing. On the same day Vice's first episode dropped, WWE attempted to file a trademark for WCW. Almost 25 years after the promotion closed, could WWE be reviving the brand? Right now, the trademark is specifically for merchandising purposes, after WWE unsuccessfully applied for it back in 2020. But WWE's ECW relaunch in 2006 happened off the back of a DVD release, The Rise and Fall of ECW documentary. If they're smart, which they are, WWE's new parent company TKO should be looking to exploit any owned intellectual property that's currently dormant. This is what the then WWF planned on doing after buying WCW in 2001. Raw was going to be rebranded as WCW, which Linda McMahon would take from Vince in their kayfabe divorce, running it with the babyface Shane, and WWF would move to Thursday nights as SmackDown. This was dropped when a test match of Booker T versus Buff Bagwell was rubbish. What do you want to see happen to the WCW brand? Tell me, but we've got an AEW at home in the comments down below. During the pandemic, perhaps WCW could have been another panicked rebrand of a struggling NXT. But ahead of their Battleground PLE this Sunday, NXT drew one of its best viewership figures of the year. After a very impressive 703,000 people watched last week's episode, WrestleNomics has revealed 768,000 tuned in for the 4th of June show, which had the NXT in-ring debut of TNA's Jordan Grace and the first advertised appearance of former AEW star Ethan Page. This was its second best rating of the year, and within the range that AEW Dynamite has been getting recently, who have a 10-week average of 736,000. AEW fired Kevin Kelly in March, and he's given his side of the story at a recent virtual signing. Kelly noted that tension began when he left Collision to cover New Japan's G1 Climax tournament, and his replacement, Ian Riccaboni, accused him in a New Japan Discord chat of being a QAnon conspiracy theorist. Kelly vented about this to AEW's VP of HR, and the situation was passed on to the promotion's disciplinary committee, which is an actual HR process, not a new wrestling faction. Kelly explained how the public nature of the accusations took a toll on his mental health, even having an appointment booked in with an AEW-appointed psychiatrist on a Thursday, only to be fired the day before by AEW VP Mike Mansory and the unnamed HR VP. He said he wouldn't treat his worst enemy like the way he was treated throughout his time in the company. PW Torture previously reported that Kelly was fired by AEW because of a rant he made on social media where he accused Riccaboni of libel and career sabotage. But now it's time for my review of AEW Dynamite in about 5 minutes. Maybe how last week's post-Double or Nothing episode should have started, this show opened on the TV return of MJF, where he called Okada out of shape, Swerve Strickland a bad promo, and called Will Ospreay British. By God, he's broken in half. This was classic Max, foreshadowing his next 6 months worth of story. But with Ospreay and Swerve busy with each other at Forbidden Door, right now, he's getting a filler feud with Roosh. Roosh said that while MJF's been gone, he's been here working hard. He's had 3 AEW matches this year. Max said he couldn't understand what Roosh was saying, and the two had a pull-apart brawl. Even though this is just to fill time for a bigger MJF match, it was very entertaining. We then got Orange Cassidy versus Kyle O'Reilly versus Jay Lethal versus Ray Phoenix, where the winner gets a shot at Will Ospreay's international title next week. Please be Ray Phoenix, please be Ray Phoenix, please be Ray... Yes, it's Ray Phoenix! It should always be Rey Fenix. They had a very fast, very fun four-way match where Fenix sold his leg, so he had to roll up Lethal to win. I would have had Fenix get a stronger win here, not a roll-up, to make him a more credible opponent for Ospreay. Because his international title isn't on the line at Forbidden Door, there's a seed of doubt that he might lose it beforehand that you could exploit in the Phoenix match. Orange Cassidy squared off with Trent afterwards. Chris Statlander got in between them, slapped Cassidy, so Willow Nightingale made the save for a new team you did not know you wanted. Oh dear God, they're debuting intergender belts. The reinstated non-wrestling wrestler, interim executive vice president Tony Khan avatar Christopher Daniels came out next to announce the next qualifying match for the vacant TNT Championship ladder match at Forbidden Door. Mark Briscoe versus Brian Cage. Briscoe won a really solid TV bout, doing his chair springboard behind the referee's back spot and getting over his man-up strength against the much bigger Cage. The extra layers of Don and Takeshita watching from the stands and Jack Perry watching from backstage always kept you aware of the ladder match build. Perry cut a promo afterwards saying nobody has proven they'll sacrifice as much as him. The varsity athletes interrupted Samoa Joe and Hook's backstage interview, so they're gonna get murdered. The Acclaimed had their segment cut mid-entrance rap by the Bucks in production because the handbook says you're not allowed to disparage the EVPs. The Acclaimed tried to confront them backstage later on, but was separated by security, presumably furthering this feud as a tag team title program, which I'm not sure how many people are into. Me included. In a really good video package, Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vaquer was announced for both the TBS and New Japan Strong women's titles. Usually I'd say that was a waste of a potential big in-ring angle, but I think Moné is better showcased in pre-produced segments like this. Unless it's her getting mystery attacked when the lights are turned off. Getting the night's most heartwarming moment runner-up award, how can anyone beat the Swerve Nana? Wheeler Yuta made his surprise in-ring return after being out for 6 months with injury. It meant we got an impromptu full Blackpool Combat Club reunion with Yuta, Mox, Claudio and Danielson all out there together, taking on Team CMLL of Volador Jr., Esfinge, Rugido and Magnus. They had a fun spot fest and Yuta got the feel-good pin. Big storyline beat came in a promo backstage later on though. Danielson compared Wheeler's inspiring recovery to his last full-time year in wrestling, where he suffered loss after loss after loss. So he promised he'll win the Owen Hart tournament to get a shot at the World Championship at All In. That is a fantastic story beat and throws an unpredictable spanner into the Ospreay wins the tournament for a Swerve All-In rematch idea. Daniel Garcia got an effective character building promo ahead of his Ospreay match. The Patriarchy agreed a heelish pact with the Elite where Christian wanted another title shot and the Bucks said if they scratch their backs, they want their backs scratched in return. And then a week late, we got Mariah May versus Saraya. May again clearly worked as the babyface against Saraya, who has really felt motivated since joining her brother and Harley Cameron. Her star presence worked really well with Mariah, who took a sick-looking rampage on top of her head. Most shockingly though, Saraya won, making May tap out in the Scorpion crossbody while looking at Tony on commentary. Storm tried to tend to Mariah afterwards, but the heels beat her down, leading to Tony's Forbidden Door opponent and May's friend Mina Shirakawa to make the save. Tony and Mina clearly didn't like each other, but Mariah hugged both their bosoms. It was a good match with great characters and a finish that both strengthened Saraya and furthered a larger story. I think this is my favourite AEW women's feud this year. A long-running bit throughout the night had Jericho and his Learning Tree group, Jericho explaining how to do things. He told his driver how to drive, a commentator how to commentate, and a cameraman how to camera. This all built to him telling Private Party they should rename themselves Public Party, because parties are more fun when everyone's invited. They turned him down, so invited them to TV time next week, all while annoyingly repeating his new catchphrase that is genuinely catching on. Even the crowd now is being
pulled into the Jericho mid-card vortex. Thanks, guys!
The main event of Swerve Strickland versus Roderick Strong had a big fight feel. Roddy got a training montage. The crowd was hot. Justin Roberts did the full ring intros on TV. But just before we get into the action, let's have a look at how this match came about. Oh yeah, Tony Khan made it! The guy who Christopher Daniels was supposed to replace as an on-screen authority figure just 4 days beforehand made it official when Strong got angry on Collision and demanded a world title shot because he was the last guy in the casino gauntlet that never came out, all while Khan is corpsing and gurning his way through the promo. My opinion has turned somewhat on the Elite vs AEW storyline. Thankfully, Swerve and Roddy had a fantastic main event, which showcased Strickland as a super cool, methodical, dominant champion while giving Strong enough to make the match competitive. They could not have done this any better. Swerve hit a house call to win and then posed with the dancing Prince Nana and an actual Nana in the front row to close the show. This week's Dynamite is 73%. Now click the playlist on screen now to watch our Who Really Killed WCW and WWECW documentaries.